My insane girlfriend drunkenly confessed to my friend that she is pregnant by her ex and plans to make me take care of the baby. When he told me, I broke up with her and she went crazy. One night at a party, my girlfriend Emma had too much to drink, and she confessed a shocking secret to a friend of mine. She told him that she had been secretly hooking up with her ex behind my back and that she was pregnant by him. My friend said that the second he found out, he went to look for me to tell me. She also mentioned that she planned to make me withdraw from college to help support her and the baby. I had just received my acceptance letter from my dream college, and hearing this was like a kick to the gut. I felt heartbroken. I had planned to do so much with Emma. We had been together since sophomore year, and I wanted to marry her after I graduated. Hearing this, I almost couldn't believe it, but then I remembered how she used to talk about wanting to explore the world and try new things before settling down. At the time, I didn't understand what she meant, but now it was all becoming clear. In our senior year, there was an incident where I saw her texting Brendan, her ex-boyfriend, while she was sitting next to me. I asked her why she was texting him, and she replied that they had dated back in freshman year, so she didn't think much of it. She described their relationship as just puppy love, but we had already been together for 3 years at that point. I told her that I didn't feel comfortable with her texting him all the time because I feared it would hurt our relationship, but she assured me that she wasn't going anywhere. I allowed her to continue talking to him, but a few months later, she started asking if they could hang out together. I really didn't feel comfortable with that, but I again allowed it, trusting that our relationship was strong enough. Fast forward to now, and it turns out that Brendan is the guy who got Emma pregnant, and she expected me to raise the child and take care of her. The next day, my head was still spinning. I was so shocked, hurt, and confused. I knew I had to confront Emma. I couldn't just let this slide. I went to her parents' house, my heart pounding in my chest. When she opened the door, she looked surprised to see me, but there was a hint of guilt in her eyes, as if she remembered what she had said the night before. We sat on the couch and I brought up what she had confessed. She immediately denied it, claiming that she had only said it as a funny joke while she was drunk. Neither of us found it funny. I told her to prove it wasn't true and pulled out a pregnancy test that I had bought before coming over. Her eyes widened in shock when she saw what I had. I told her that if she couldn't take the test, then we were done. I knew in my heart that I still wanted to be with her, but my head told me I couldn't be with someone who had cheated on me and lied to me, expecting me to sacrifice my dreams to support her. She tried to deny it and flip the situation on me, asking if I didn't trust her. I told her that I was leaving and that we were done. She grabbed my arm and confessed, saying she was a few weeks along and that it was an accident. They had only done it once, and she wanted me to be the father because I was a better person. She broke down into sobs, insisting that she loved me, not him, and that it was just a mistake. I knew the truth before I came over, but hearing it from her mouth still broke my heart. I had really believed that we had something special, something that would last. I left that day, but her calls and texts over the next few days didn't stop. It hurt to see her name pop up on my phone, but I knew I had to ignore it for my own sake. When she realized I wasn't going to respond, she showed up at my parents' house. My mom answered the door and Emma held her head down in shame. She asked for me and I walked down the stairs to see her. I asked her what she wanted and she said she just wanted to talk. I agreed, but told her that after this talk, she had to promise to leave me alone. She agreed and we went to my room. As soon as she sat on the bed, she burst into tears again, saying she felt scared and alone and begged for me to take her back. I told her that I just wanted one thing from her, a paternity test on the baby. If the baby was mine, I would take care of it, but I still wouldn't be with her. She asked why, and I had to explain that the reason I wouldn't be with her, regardless of the paternity test results, was because she cheated on me with her ex-boyfriend. She tried to argue that it was only one time, but I told her that one time was enough to change everything. I made it clear that I could never see her the same way again. Before I left her, I wanted to make sure she wasn't carrying my child. My dad always taught me that no child deserves to be raised without a father. I think she assumed I would take her back if she took the test, because she dried her tears and started smiling, saying she would do it the next morning. I explicitly told her that this didn't mean we were back together, but her delusions got the best of her. She was convinced that since I allowed her to talk to me, we were back together. The next day, She took the test, and the doctors sent it off. They told us it would be a few weeks before we got the results. In the meantime, she tried to hang out with me and often called my phone about things that didn't pertain to the baby. I told her that I would care for her until we knew the results, but she took it a few steps too far. She would often show up at my house unannounced and even tried to get intimate with me. I constantly reminded her that we were not together and that she should only contact me if it was about the baby. She said that the baby could feel her sadness and use that as an excuse to hang out with me or have me buy her food. Those weeks were agonizing and took a toll on my mind. I tried to be there for Emma while mourning the relationship we once had. If you've ever tried to get over someone while having to see them every day, you would understand. After the tormenting weeks passed, the results came in. The baby wasn't mine. Emma broke down again, crying and saying that I had been an amazing partner, even though we weren't together, and begged me to take on the role of the father in the child's life. I told her to talk to Brendan since he was supposedly the dad. She admitted that he told her he was too young to take care of the kid and wanted her to terminate the pregnancy. He said that if she carried the child to term, he would leave her to be a single mother. But she didn't listen because she assumed I would take care of the baby. I told her that wasn't my responsibility anymore, and that I had my answer. It hurt deep down to know that the child would grow up without a dad, but it felt bittersweet to know I wouldn't be stuck with a manipulator and forced to co-parent with her. The following months, I was a mental wreck. My friends helped me heal and checked in regularly to make sure I was okay. Emma, however, went crazy when she realized I was truly done with her. She would stalk my social media accounts, making sure I wasn't with someone else. She was always the first to view my stories and would often check my profile daily. When that wasn't enough, she started contacting my mom. My dad ended up calling me, asking if I was neglecting a child that was mine. He said Emma showed up at their house, claiming I knocked her up and dipped without wanting to take care of her son. By this point, Emma was over 6 months pregnant, and they recently had a gender reveal for the boy she was carrying. I told my dad that she was lying and delusional. I didn't have the paternity test to prove it anymore, but I told him that I knew the values he had instilled in me, and I would have raised that baby if it was mine. I asked him to let Mom know that Emma was lying, and that she had cheated on me with her ex-boyfriend Brendan. My dad apologized for accusing me without talking to me first, and said he should have known to trust me. I forgave him and got off the phone. When I got home from work, I shuffled through the drawer in my room to find the paternity test. My mom still didn't believe me and wanted to see the test herself. The second her eyes started racing across that piece of paper, I saw her rage instantly turn to sadness. She apologized for not believing me earlier and said that Emma made it seem so believable. She said Emma had cried in her arms about wanting me to take care of the child we made together. With my mom on my side, Emma lost her last ally. She became very depressed because Brendan wanted nothing to do with the baby either. She tried everything to win me back, from sending me gifts to showing up unannounced at my house and job, begging for another chance, but I never gave her the reaction she wanted. Then, one night, my phone rang. It was Emma. Her voice was hysterical. She was crying, and her voice began cracking. She started saying how she couldn't live without me and that she didn't want to live without me. I told her that she needed to see a therapist. She begged me again to be with her, and I told her the same thing I'd been telling her. She then said she'd take her life and the baby's if I wouldn't be with her again. I was in a panicked state. Despite everything, I didn't want her to hurt herself. I told her to stay on the phone with me and talk. I called the police from my home phone while my cell was muted. I stayed on the line until I heard the police arrive. They arrived just in time to prevent her from harming herself, and they took her to a mental hospital for treatment. That night was a turning point. The whole ordeal made me realize just how toxic and manipulative Emma had been. With Emma out of my life and receiving the help she needed, I focused on rebuilding my own life. I went through a range of emotions, from relief to anger to sadness. It wasn't easy, But with Lucas's support and my family, I found the strength to move on. Soon enough, it was time for me to go to college. Months passed, and gradually, life started to regain a sense of normalcy. I made new friends, joined clubs, and even started dating again, though I was more cautious this time. Emma remained in the back of my mind, but as a distant memory. One evening, as I was studying for midterms, my phone buzzed with a text from Lucas, who had told me about the whole ordeal in the first place. He said he wanted to grab something to eat together while I was home for the weekend, and that he had something to celebrate. I didn't know what he wanted to celebrate, but I agreed since I hadn't seen him since I left for college. At the restaurant, he grinned as he slid an envelope across the table and told me to open it. It was a letter from all of my friends back home, telling me how much they loved and missed me, and how proud they were of me for getting into my dream college. This really touched my heart. It felt good to have this type of support system beside me through everything. As I sat there, surrounded by friends and feeling hopeful about the future, I realized that I had come out stronger on the other side. Emma's betrayal had nearly broken me, but it had also created a new beginning for me. I had learned to value the people who truly cared for me, and to never let anyone else define my worth. Commentary time. Wow, what a wild and emotionally charged journey. OP's story is a roller coaster of betrayal, manipulation, and ultimately, self-discovery and strength. It's incredible to see how OP handled such a toxic situation with composure, even when things got out of control with Emma's deception and attempts to trap him with her ex's baby. It's clear that OP trusted Emma at every step despite the warning signs, and that trust was completely shattered when the truth came out. What makes this story particularly tough is how OP had to navigate not only the emotional betrayal, but also the ongoing harassment and manipulation after the breakup. Emma's tactics to reel him back in, even involving his family, are a testament to how far she was willing to go to avoid responsibility and make him stay. The moment where Emma threatens to harm herself and the baby is terrifying. And it's a relief to know that OP took the right steps by involving the authorities to get her help. It's also a stark reminder of the lengths some people will go to when they feel out of control. OP's decision to prioritize his mental health and focus on his future by moving forward was incredibly brave, especially with everything Emma put him through. What stands out in this story is how OP found strength in his friendships, especially with Lucas, and the importance of having a solid support system during times of crisis. The heartwarming moment when his friends celebrated his acceptance into his dream college really drives home that sometimes, through the darkest experiences, we find out who truly cares about us. In the end, OP emerged stronger, having learned valuable lessons about trust, boundaries, and the importance of self-worth. It's great to see that OP is now in a healthier place, focusing on his goals and surrounding himself with people who genuinely support him. And before we wrap up, if you found this story gripping or relatable, don't forget to like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.